What's up, everybody? This is the One Nation Podcast 864, and we're here with the one and only. I told y'all we was gonna make this happen. Kelly Mack, y'all give her a round of applause, please.
Oh my gosh, live audience, hey!
Yes, she is. And we know she's used to that, so we're not gonna go there. But Kelly, it's an honor to be here with you today. This podcast thing has been a struggle for me trying to get things going, and I'm glad when I reached out to you. Let me tell y'all. When I reached out to her, she's humble, she's cool, and she's probably one of the nicest people to be around. But we're going to get into some questions they've been dying to ask you.
Okay, let's go.
So, now, coming up, when you was a child, is radio something you thought you wanted to be in, or is there something you just decided to, take off and do?
To be honest with you, I love music. Okay. So, I was that kid on the playground when the girls were playing, jump rope or gossiping or whatever. I was the kid with my headphones on and my Sony Walkman.
Okay. I remember Sony Walkman.
What you know about that? You don't know nothing about that. But I was the one that would, walk to school with my headphones on. It was not a social thing for me to walk to school. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. So, I would say between October and all the way through March, sometimes April, it was at least 30 degrees or less when I walked to school,
You're right about that, Kelly.
So that's how I kept warm and comfortable.
But you took me back when you said the Sony Walkman. I remember the thing. Let me ask you this. The Walkman, now you remember the disc CD?
Yes.
Player?
So I had one with the cassette tape and the CD. Yes.
She know about it all. She know about it all. But that's cool, Kelly. So now, exactly how long have you been in radio?
I've been doing radio since 1999. I started off as a part-time receptionist and kind of worked my way up from there.
Now, let me ask you something. Now, if I'm correct, did you start at 107 or was it something before then?
I did start at 107, but not the 107 y'all thinking of.
Okay. Well, she goes school us right now. Let me know.
Yes, I started at Z 107.9 WENZ in Cleveland, Ohio, and my hometown. So it was a situation. Like I said, I was I was a receptionist answering the phone calls. A lot of receptionists don't exist no more because of automation and AI. But back then they did before technology was strong.
You're right.
But there was I kept trying to get on the radio. I was like, come on, give me a shot, give me a shot, give me a shot. And they were like, you've never been on the radio. We're not going to do it. And then finally one day somebody got sick and they were like, hey, we need somebody to fill in. And they chose me.
Somebody got sick.
Yes.
And you got in and it just took off.
Period.
And they love to see how God works. I told y'all, man, that's amazing. Now you're from Cleveland, so I gotta ask you.
Okay.
This. You follow basketball?
Of course, I'm a LeBron James fan.
Kelly is a LeBron James fan. Got y'all haters out there.
You already know.
But let me ask you something. Did you follow him to LA though?
We followed him to Miami. We followed him as an icon and as a talent to LA, but we are not Laker fans, not at all.
Oh, man. Y'all know I go wherever he goes, but I understand that. That's
I understand.
Cool. Now, you say you've been doing this for that long and, you're from Cleveland. We know you're a LeBron fan. We're going to dive a little bit more into some sports right quick.
Okay.
What about the Cleveland Browns, though?
Okay, so Cleveland Browns, my dad.
Your dad is
I rock with them because my dad rocks with them. My brother rocks with them too.
Okay.
I remember back in the late 80s, I can't tell you the year, maybe 88, 89.
Okay.
The days of Bernie Kosar. What other guy? Biner.
Eric.
Eric Metcalf.
Metcalf.
So anyways, long story short, I remember them going to the playoffs, maybe the AFC championship with the Broncos. And this guy I had a crush on was a Broncos fan. So naturally I became a Broncos fan.
Really?
Plus I thought John Elway was kind of cute. Weird. I don't know how and why. I'm thinking maybe because at the time we had a similar smile. He had buck teeth and I did, and I thought it was kind of cute. I don't know.
I gotta laugh at that one.
Laugh.
Hey, but now I'm gonna tell you something. When you left there, you came down. So did you become a Carolina Panther?
Of course.
You got the blue on.
Yes. This is my favorite color. Carolina Panther blue, turquoise, Tiffany blue. Okay. But that's not why I like the Panthers. And I am still a Cam fan, even though he's not playing right now. But I do like my Panthers.
We still salute you, Cam.
Yes.
We still love
salute.
You. We still do. Now, Kelly, let me ask you something about the radio. Because I really don't know much about radio.
Right.
And I wanted to get into it one time before. But what was the biggest, I guess you say, obstacle you had to overcome in the radio industry? Because we know that you filled in for somebody you took off.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it was more things you had to, overcome. So
right.
Can you run that by us if it's something stand out?
You know what? I think the biggest obstacle that you never overcome, specifically as a woman and as a minority, is the need to always prove that you're worthy and that you're able. Because a lot of times, for men, it's different because men are the party guys. Men can do a lot of things that women can't do, and men can get away with it, and then women are looked down on.
You're right about that.
Including standing your ground, speaking up when you feel, strongly about something.
Yeah.
When a man does it, it's like, okay, cool, he's a man. Okay, we hear you, we respect you. When a woman does it, it's kind of like, oh, she's difficult. Oh, she has an attitude. So I think that's the biggest obstacle. And then, of course, I think the second obstacle is just politics, BS, and corporate America.
and I just wonder sometimes, why is it like that? Because I see a lot of women. To me, I don't see a lot of women do things better than men, have. And and I remember the last election. Actually, I wanted to see a woman president. I did, know. But then, like you say, you got those other people out there that were just like, no, we don't need a woman running the world. Well, definitely need, who runs the world. So I thought it would have been great if we had a woman to run the world. And I'm all for women, because I really think a lot of times people sit up here and they say, well, just because you're a woman, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Right.
But that's a lie. Because look at the Midday Mommy. She's doing her thing on the radio better than a lot of other people have been doing.
Thank you.
So we definitely got to give you a shout out for that.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, I understand that, like you say, overcome obstacles and stuff like that in the industry. But another thing I guess I want to dive into, like you say you've been doing this for a while.
Right.
Do you see yourself continuing to do it, or is it something else you think Kelly Mack want to tackle?
I think that at this point in my career, I like the idea of doing it more so on my terms. In the past, because I was a single mother, I felt the need to take jobs in different cities to provide for myself and my son, and when I look back, and it's like there were jobs that I actually took for only $3,000 to $5,000 more than I was making in a previous city.
Really?
But to me, that $3,000 to $5,000 was an extra $500 a month. And so that's the way I looked at it. So I wouldn't do those things now at this point in my life. I was always, I feel like, I don't want to say I was chasing the check, but I wanted to provide for my child, and I didn't want him to have, go without. So I made a lot of sacrifices, and I sacrificed a lot of personal time, personal relationships, friendships, trying to be career focused. And then, one day I looked up like, whoa, like I literally left Cleveland in April. Here it is, April of 2023. I left Cleveland, April of 2003.
Wow.
So I left home, where I grew up, where all my friends are at 20 years ago.
Now, how was that? Because I'm going to tell you what I'm struggling with.
Okay.
I think it's a lot of, like you said, it's a lot of opportunity out there.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to leave, your place. Was that big, leaving home after being there that whole time? And, now it's like, was that like scary to you, or you was like, I didn't know what was going to happen? Like,
it was, anything unknown is going to be, I guess you could say, I hate using the word scary or fearful, but, maybe uncomfortable. My dad was military, so we moved around a lot. So I was kind of used to the idea of starting life over. In Cleveland, the opportunity just wasn't there for me as an individual. And I got much love for Cleveland and, all my Cleveland fans, family, friends, it's all good. But Cleveland wasn't going to work for me. I had to get out of Cleveland to get out of the Cleveland mindset, because I had a different kind of Cleveland mindset,
You're right. And see, I'm like there with Spartanburg. I got to get out of Spartanburg. I got the Spartanburg mindset. And maybe if I get out of there, it'll be a totally different thing. And that's something that I got to work on personally. But another thing, I see you do this a lot. I get a lot of motivation from you on Facebook. Where did that come from? That midday motivation, them posts, I'm like, she is really dropping jewels on here, man. Like, I really got to step my game up. But I get a lot of motivation from it, because I try to motivate people myself. But does that come from somewhere, or is that just something you would say, I'm going to start doing this for the people out there?
I started doing it, I want to say when I was in Charleston, South Carolina. We saw some really crazy things in Charleston. Charleston was a culture shock for me because I'm moving from Cleveland, Ohio to, a city where 70% of the slaves were brought into those ports. And there was a lot of racism. There was no such thing as middle-class Black folk or minorities in Charleston. So it was like you were either in the upper echelon or you were at the bottom. And me and my son, we was at the bottom, as well as me and my coworkers. Like, I mean, we were just working to survive, and we weren't thriving. So, I don't know. That was the most difficult thing I think you could say, like the whole Charleston voyage or what have you. But it was like, I remember this one time where this kid, he got shot by the police. Okay. He has special needs. And he went into a grocery store called the Piggly Wiggly. Yeah, we had a Piggly Wiggly. Yeah. Y'all know about it. I didn't ever hear about that store until I moved to Charleston. And his special needs, he was stealing a pack of chicken. Okay. And they called the police. And he had a butter knife in his jacket. And he pulled the butter knife out. And the police said that he was armed and they shot and killed him. And it happened right across the street from the radio station. And so, the Rainbow Coalition came down, Jesse Jackson and all. Yeah. And I just remember how dark it was and Charleston hot and sunny, but it was just like gloomy for like days and weeks because we were so heavy at what just happened. Over what happened. And it was heartbreaking. And that's when I personally was like, you know what? We need to inspire. We need to motivate. I had a friend who worked on the gospel station that sent me a little poem. And I was just like, you know what? This is what the world needs, And so I just would hear stuff maybe in a sermon or read a quote. And I never wanted to be the one to like steal people's content and stuff. So I might take it and put my own words and my own spin on it and kind of put it out there.
I'll take it and I'll share hers.
It's okay.
But yes, a lot of people get inspired by that because I tried doing some motivation. And I'm going to tell you a quick little story. A guy told me one day, because I shared my story about mental health. Okay. And the random person, I don't know him from a campaign, he said, "You just don't know you saved my life." Wow. I said, "What you mean by that?" He was like, "Well, just your story helped me overcome what I was going through." And he was telling me, he's able to open up about it now. So if anybody looking at that motivation that she's sharing or anybody else sharing, it goes a long way. Yeah. So y'all definitely got to stick with that. You definitely got to stick with that.
You remember that little saying when we were growing up, sharing is caring?
Sharing is caring.
That's like real deal stuff.
It really is. It goes a long way. It's not just like, some kids think sharing their toys and stuff like that.
No.
But no, you just
sharing experiences, testimonies, trials, tribulations, solutions. I had somebody call me on the radio. His name was Black, God rest his soul. But he called me one day and was like, I was about to take my life. And you said something that changed my mind. And years later, he did end up doing that. And it was heartbreaking. Yeah, and his family reached out and it messed up my head. And it was like, if only there was something else I could have done or said, but sometimes you don't know what people are going through, what they just came out of or what they're about to go through. So my biggest thing is be kind and do what you can to motivate, encourage, and inspire,
Okay. And now for the people that don't know, we're up here in Charlotte.
Yes.
So we're going to ask Kelly what it's like being up here in Charlotte because we know her from the upstate. Y'all know that, a lot of my followers. So when did you come to Charlotte?
I got to Charlotte, let's see, summer of 2017.
Okay, 2017.
Yeah, but I come back and forth to Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson,
You do.
But Charlotte is home. I have a home in Charlotte. And I have a home in Florida as well. Okay. So sometimes I'm in Florida, sometimes Charlotte, sometimes Greenville, Spartanburg. I don't like to sit stationary anywhere. So.
Yeah, we actually do a lot of traveling in Florida ourselves. So I got cousins and my father-in-law down there in Yulee, Florida, right before you get to Jacksonville. So, yeah, it's I love Florida.
Yes, me too.
I wish I could have went earlier, but I couldn't get there. But it is what it is. Now, let me ask you this: is it a bit different from radio? Well, is it a bit different from being in the upstate to up here now that you're doing your radio?
Well, I'm still doing radio in the upstate in Greenville. Shout out to the block, 96.3 in Greenville, 104.5 in Spartanburg, 107.7 in Anderson. Ow. Yes, and I also do a station in Lansing, Michigan.
Okay.
I was on the radio in Charlotte for a little bit, and there was some financial issues and politics and BS. You know how it is. Haven't been doing radio like on a station here in Charlotte, for a few years. I've been more so focused on entrepreneurship. As you know, we are, at a venue that we have here in Charlotte, recording and streaming and coming to you live. So just looking for different ways to create, I guess you could say, income in multiple streams. Because one thing I learned is that when corporate America says, you know what, sorry, it's not working out, or hey, sorry, we have some financial issues, we're going to have to let you go, budget cuts or whatever it is.
Yeah, I've been through it.
Why allow that to be your destiny? Why sit there and be like, oh my gosh, if I don't get paid next week, I can't pay my mortgage or my rent or pay my bills, So I'm like, multiple streams and let's stack. Just because we got it don't mean we got to spend it,
You're right. And that's something I'm learning. I'm telling you, I went through a little thing, a lot of people know I had a little injury in a car accident. And I was just thinking to myself, so you know what? I really want to work for myself.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
You know what I mean? Now, I do work for a company that check come in every, week or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's a lot of things I'm missing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I can get on my grind to do it for myself.
That's right.
Then it'll be great. And if we can, like she just told y'all, we're at one of her venues. If you don't mind, once this over, could we share it and talk about it or what you want to get?
Yeah.
See, it's all about networking, people. It's all about networking. That's what it's all about. Now, definitely, I heard you say you're a Carolina Panther fan. We got you something.
Okay.
So this is your shirt. I'm gonna explain this to you.
Okay.
This is One Nation Podcast 864, but we also have a brand too.
Okay.
And the brand is all about bringing everybody together as one.
Okay.
Don't see nobody as a different color or a different background. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And this is yours. I just want to give that to you. So
awesome.
Once it's over,
Thank
we can give you that.
Okay.
The One Nation, she got it. But another thing, Kelly, since I'm talking about One Nation, let me see if I could pick your brain a little bit.
Sure.
Do you feel, this is the way I feel about it.
Okay.
It's strength in numbers. And sometimes, now I've been in those situations where, it's a lot of my friends, and they feel like they can't learn something from somebody within the other color. But my thing to them is, you should stop looking at that.
Yeah.
Because I've learned a lot from all races, and what I'm trying to do with this brand is definitely put it together up under apparel. Everybody wearing the same thing, One Nation, we can get a lot of things done. Now, have you ever been in a situation where it's been like, okay, we need to come together to get it done? Because, we always think we can do everything by ourselves, but, really it's not like that.
No, it's not.
And it really don't matter what color the person is. So could you kind of explain like a time in your life where, you needed a little help and it came from another nationality or something like that? Because the people need to hear these things, because that's why I tell them, I know we all stick together, as, our color, but hey, man, this is a new world we living in. Yeah. And we got to get the job done. Can you think about something like that?
Oh, my entire life. So, I've never, been quiet about, who I am and what I stand for. First and foremost, when I was born, it was a girl. Period. She was a girl before they named my race or my length or my weight or anything. So, first and foremost, I'm a woman. Secondly, I am a minority woman.
Yes, ma'am.
I come from a very multicultural background, Black, German, Italian. For years, they told us Indian, and then we found out that Indian is a myth that a lot of people of color have been told that they're Indian because they might have certain features like high cheekbones or, as some would say, keen features or a certain hair texture or whatever. Oh, yeah, you Indian. Our family.
I've seen it.
Do your history. Stop letting people tell you that myth. Now, a lot of folks do have Indian in them, but a lot of folks have been told that they do and they don't. But I digress. But my entire life, I mean, I've learned from Black people. I've learned from. I had recently a 45-minute conversation with a Latino business that did not speak English, and I don't speak Spanish as much as many people think I do. It was interesting. They had an app on the phone, and everything they said, they translated it to the app. The app spoke to me, told me what they said, and then I responded to the app, and then the app responded to them in Spanish.
Yeah.
And we had a whole conversation.
Oh man.
I'm big on supporting minority businesses, and that can be from woman businesses, Latino businesses, Black businesses. However, just because you're a minority-owned business doesn't give you a pass to operate without integrity or a level of professionalism. Prime example, I was in Florida last week. I needed some work done. I had an agreement for cleaning company, Black-owned and operated, to come out and do a job for us. And it's like 30 minutes after the time they're supposed to be here. And I'm like, okay, I don't mind giving 10, 15-minute grace period, but here we are. 30 minutes turned into 45 minutes. And so I reached out and it was like, oh, well, I'm sending my girl to do it. And I'm like, well, you were supposed to do it, and you were supposed to come with a crew because we're on a 3-4 hour timeline here. And it was like, oh, well, you know, I didn't know there was a timeline. And I'm like, okay. So long story short, you don't get a pass just because you're minority owned trying to do your thing. You know, so sadly, I had to take that business elsewhere. And it didn't matter if I took it to Black, white, Asian, Latino. At the end of the day, the job needed to get done. The job was colorless. And my money only got one color, and it's green, period. I'm just saying.
You're right about that. You're right about that. Well, I mean, I understand that. That's what I was trying to get to, you know, let people know that all my followers, anybody that's watching this. But I'm glad, man, you see eye to eye on that. And there's a lot of more people like that see eye to eye with us, you know, with that right there. But now we're going to have a little fun before we get up out here. So we're going to talk. We're going to talk a little bit about music. You've been around radio so long, you know music. So I'm going to just ask you, are you old school or new school?
I am middle school.
Middle school. Now, let me ask you something. Give me Kelly Mack's top 3 R&B singles of all time.
Oh, my gosh. Top 3 R&B singles of all time.
Top 3.
Okay. Mary J. Blige, My Life. Okay, that is my favorite of all time.
I heard that.
Okay, Anthony Hamilton, Can't Let Go.
And I heard he retired.
I saw a video the other day, and I was like, "Aunt, what are you doing?" Like, sometimes you got to retire, take some time off, and then you come back bigger and better than ever. I'm just saying. Anthony ain't going nowhere. No, not the least bit. And then I guess another one, the third one, I really like that song, Back to Sleep by Chris Brown.
Oh, man.
That's my joint right there.
Hey, she went up with it, Chris Brown.
Yes.
Chris Brown. Now, let me ask you this then, since we talked about Chris Brown, we jumped on him. Yeah, do you think anybody out there close to him dancing in the dancing field? Because I seen him do something.
Usher.
A lot of people say that. I'm just. You think Usher got a chance at him?
I think so. I would love. Okay, so Chris Brown is new school. Usher is middle school.
Okay.
And then of course Michael Jackson would have been old school. That would have been amazing to see the three of them on the stage at the same time.
And of course, who would give it to? We have to give it to Michael. What you think?
Probably. Yeah, I don't know that too many people could touch Michael. But remember the tribute that Chris did for Michael?
Yes,
that was pretty amazing.
Okay, this is Chris doing that. What's going on here? But that's cool. Now, before we finish, I do this one with a lot of people. Okay, we did R&B, but you're a woman. Now, if you had to pick, okay, first off, let's go here right quick. Okay. You're married now.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you, if you had to pick one woman, one R&B singer woman to sing at your wedding. I mean, now, Kelly, this could be anybody, old school, new school, or whatever. Who would it be and why? And you got to give me the song. That's tough.
That's really tough. But I would say Alicia Keys, Unbreakable. Period.
I gotta give it to you on that one. Right about that.
I would also say if Alicia wasn't available, Monica, Love All Over Me.
Monica, okay.
Yes, okay. Or anything by Faith Evans because my husband loves Faith Evans. Okay. So you know, I'm just thinking availability. If Alicia wasn't available, maybe Faith or Monica would be. You gotta keep your options open.
Well, that's cool. I like that. You know, and I'm gonna tell you something. My son is in here, y'all, and he is a big Carolina fan. As soon as she said that about Carolina, I watched it all.
He lit up like a Christmas tree.
And that's cool. And I'm glad we got to sit down and chop it up with you. But this is the part of the show where, like I say, if you got anything going on or anything you want to tell the followers or anything, just let them know. Like I say, we're at her venue, and we're going to talk about a little bit of that once we finish. I'm going to try to get some pictures to show y'all what's going on. But she already gives y'all motivation every day. And y'all, I know y'all watch it. But let me ask you this. Is there anything you could tell the people out there watching, if they're going through a struggle or they're going through like financial times or, physically, mentally, anything? Is there any kind of advice you can give them just to, get them over the next hump? Because that's what we all about with One Nation.
Well, you know what? My son is a big Aaliyah fan. And something I always told him was if at first you don't succeed, you got to get up and try again. Of course, we've heard the song by Aaliyah, but I think that in today's day and age, we want success too fast, and we don't understand that failure comes before success. You will never be able to fully enjoy success or fully even know what it is without knowing what failure feels like and looks like. And also, nothing happens overnight, You have to put in the grit, the grind. You have to stay focused. And if something doesn't work, you got to figure out another solution. You can't just give up on your dream or give up on what makes you happy because it didn't happen or come together as quick as you thought it would be. Or because times get difficult, you're either going to be in it to win it or you're a quitter, one of the two, but success, it doesn't come easy, and nothing worth having happens easy either, but at the end of the day, persistence, focus, and love wins. Love always wins. And I say that because, so often we're carrying so much baggage, emotional baggage, disappointments,
a lot of
trust issues, stuff like that. And so many times that can cloud your decision making. So many times that can affect your energy and your ability to operate at 100% or 200%. I like 200%, but at the end, so it's like, I don't know, like let go of the BS, lean on the people that got your back.
Exactly.
And believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself first, no one else is going to believe in you. Period.
You're right about that, and I think a lot of people need to hear that. I'm not gonna lie, I need to hear that myself. I'm glad you shared that with us, Kelly.
Awesome.
And like I said, I was glad to come up here today and share this with you on the One Nation Podcast 864. She has spoken.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And we had a good time with
Yes,
Kelly
we did
today. And y'all, I just want to let y'all know I'm leaving up out of here. I want to leave y'all with a little something. Keep your head up. Anything you're going through is going to get better. And like Kelly Matt told you, follow those words, and we're going to see y'all on the next one. This is the One Nation Podcast 864, and I'm signing off. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.